Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. I'm Sean from TTRPG. I stream on Saturdays to. I came on late. So, good morning, good evening, good afternoon, wherever this may find you, or whenever. I'm Sean. Oh, and I just closed my browser. That's not going to work. And I stream every Saturday talking about RPGs and things of that nature with help from the chat. And this is your first time joining. Great. Thank you for joining. If you are seeing this after the live recording, try making it live on Saturdays at 8 a.m. Central Time US. It's a little, I imagine this is a little tough to watch after it's been recorded, just because it's not consistently me bantering and doing a monologue for the entire show, although that's what it is. For the most part, I have a lot of help from the chat, so there's a lot of pauses and things of that nature. So, but nonetheless, if you find this interesting, any point or even uninteresting, give it a like or dislike. Roger, always the first one. Not always, but good to see you, Roger. I should give bonus points to the first person who chimes in on the chat. I don't know what I'm going to talk about today. Fair warning. I am running this totally ad lib, which is not a shock, right? That's kind of how I roll. Good to be seen. Man, I don't even know what to say today about what's going on in the RPG hobby. Michael Holland, good to see you. Akuda Ken Racha! Oh, I'm waiting to see if a particular person shows up today. There was a person that I game with who said he was going to show up. We'll see. I'm not holding my breath, but I will thoroughly disappoint him. How's everybody doing? 2023. We're into what? Week 2? Almost exactly. It's the 14th of January as this is being recorded, 2023. Harrigan, good to see you. Mr. Swick, good to see you. Not everybody's here in the chat yet. Hey, Nelson, good to see you. Not everybody's here in the chat. I'm going to kind of put this out here to the group in a second. Michael says, Sean, before Scott gets on here, I have a shameful confession. I'm not happy having to say this. I owned a 2D20 product in print and I didn't even realize it. Shame. Why did you like me? Are you talking about okay. Why is that a huge deal? It's okay, Michael. Hey, it's okay. You don't have to own 2D20 if you don't want to. I don't think I own any 2D20 product. That's not necessarily accurate. I only have the GM screen for Star Trek. For whatever reason, that thing is obnoxious. I don't know if you own that thing. It's literally a big, huge square. It's such a weird form factor. It sits on shelves weird. It's almost like the Saga edition of Star Wars, but at least Saga, you can kind of get on a shelf. This one is crazy. But that's the only 2D20 product I think I own at this point. Star Trek was good, but I don't know if we'd play it again. I played it with the Doc group. So what I was going to say is some of those books are cool. Is it 2D20 reasons to not play 2D20 games? I was going to put this out there. I will put it out there. I don't know how everybody feels about talking about the OGL. Feel free to chime in. Like, no wrong answer. Is it something you're interested in knowing more about? Are you tired of the discussion and what's going on? Are you confused by what's going on? Do you have opinions of what's going on? I only say this, I touched on it a little bit last week, and I think when I started to get into the weeds, a lot of people dropped off and were like, dude, I'm out. Which is fine. Like, you know, I don't want to make anybody make anybody like I can anyway. Like I have any control over any of this. But I'm interested to know. That's the point of entry question today. Are you interested in constructive OGL discussion? Okay. Let me know. It's okay to say no. Like, dude, I'm tired of it. That's all right. It's okay. I know some people are going to have very strong opinions about not wanting to talk about it. I know one in particular. I may even mention the 3 letters and boop, there's not even might drop. I'm a bit OGL'd out, but it's fine. I appreciate that, Nelson. I get it. Feral Gamers Inc. RPG. I'm a publisher, and I'm tired of the OGL discussion. Fair enough. Okay, I should probably take a tally. Where's my... Hold on. Before I lose the chat, like it scrolls up, I will do a for, against, and neutral, or abstained, or no opinion. Yes, no, whatever. So we got, what's the totality? So Nelson's, I'm going to put you down as a whatever, buddy. Farrell said no. So if you even remotely say, but I'm okay to it, then I would put you under as a yes. So maybe I'll, so it's kind of got to be a yes or no in some way. The OGL topic is a little exhausting at the moment. The fight isn't over. I don't know. Maybe do something else. We'll have to have more to talk about later. So Michael, I'll put down as a no. Where else? Harrigan. Hard to avoid it. Glad big portions of the industry had their eyes open and maybe some legal smarts will be instilled in the community. That is a non-answer. Harrison, hey, good to see you. Welcome. I'm semi-interested, but I play mostly non-OGL games, so it doesn't affect me all that much. Well, fair. I'll put you down as a yes. I know it's exhausting. You know, I'm undergoing a project. I may do a video on the channel at some point. I think any RPG YouTuber has had an OGL video. Hell, who knows? Maybe it'll put me over the 1,000 subscriber mark, which neutral for Harrigan, got it. Which will help me monetize. I don't earn anything off this thing yet, so I gotta hit the 1,000 subscribers, and then I don't even know if I get monetized. I think you have a chance because they could say no. But in an effort to maybe do that, I have a couple ideas on what I might or might not do. One is I have a timeline that I'm putting together. It's pretty crazy and obnoxious and probably a little tenacious on my part. And frankly, a lot of it's going to be within a week time. So it's not really going to matter on when something happened. And sometimes the time stamps aren't there. So it just falls under a general day. But I thought it would be interesting to track some of that stuff and then sum it up a little bit. Because there is a lot of moving parts, right? There's a lot of parties. I know I'm starting to talk about it when people are like, dude, no. So what? Orange ZRPG. Is this your first time here? I think it is. I don't recognize the handle. Welcome. sir, ma'am, they, them. What was I going to say? Oh, Gabe Dibbing. Last week I was traveling. This time I'm here. Yes, we called you out in the chat last week, Gabe. Good to see you, sir. Got it. Thanks. If it's Gabe, Orange, Mark's genre mixer. Good morning. God, new faces. Welcome. And I say new as in until I see your handle in the chat, like probably consistently for 2 months, I may still think that you're new. So no offense, because I know some of these folks for a long time. So it just kind of comes with the territory. But I'll get to know you folks. Michael said, so you guys, gals, people, usually I start off with like, hey, there's a a question I ask and just to see what your thoughts are, like weigh in. The question this week is, would you want to talk about the OGL? Yes, no. Yes, no. If you don't care, I consider that a yes. Maybe. I guess if it's a yes, no, I consider it part of the majority, whatever the yes, or a maybe. Oh, I can't talk this morning. If it ends up being I don't care, then we'll go with whatever the majority yes, no vote is. Is that fair? I'll try to keep it abbreviated. Not especially interested, but do your thing, Roger. So I'll put down Rogers or whatever. It's kind of a 2-2 race right now, I think. And frankly, there's not a really huge, strong outpouring of, yes, that's what I tuned in for. There is one guy, Harrigan knows, he said he'd show up today and expect me to do a ton of research overnight, into the hours to present all the details and findings for you. But I don't know if I need to do that. Lucas, good to see you. Good to see you. Lucas, would you be interested in talking about the OGL today? Here's the thing. It's hard not to. Almost. I mean, it's the only, I went on Ian World, hey, Ian World, go to ianworld.org, to look at the news of the week. I think I went to comicbook.com as much as that. I'm not a big fan of the site. Comicbook.com, no offense, but can you stop putting videos at the top of your news stream and have it audio play automatically? Like it's not, kind of annoying. Michael Holland says, maybe time box the topic. Commit 15 to 30 minutes, which I'm probably starting to do anyway, and then switch it up. So Michael's like, I'm going to put Michael maybe down. Have you already voted? I'm counting duplicate votes. Put a time limit on it. Hit the highlights, perhaps. Yeah, okay, that's fair. It's like what I was going to say is that I went to Ian World to get some details about the week in news in RPGs, and there is very little news other than the OGL. It's crazy. Watched a bunch of videos on it. Know the ORC from Paizo is interesting. Fair. We're a unique bunch. CNBC article was the one article this week that probably got Watsy's attention. Interesting. I don't even know if I read the CNBC article, honestly. I read Doctorow. Like, if you haven't read the Cory Doctorow article, why do it's funny because if we read an article and we like it, why do we like it? Is it because it shares the same point of view as us? Does it explain things better? Does it not make us RPGers look like a bunch of idiots? Like, I think the Guardian one, Harrigan was, right? Like, they go on adventures. What the hell? It's like written by my grandmother's journalistic friend. Michael says, hey, Watsy taught it. If Watsy taught us anything, you can frame a win however you want. Oh, hey, shots fired. Other news, BSRCon 2. Yes. Yeah, BSRCon 2. If you are not attending BSRCon 2, you can go to tabletop events. You can go to gamingnbs.com/BSERCON, BSRCon. So for those of you that may not know the background of me and this channel, a friend of mine and I, Brett and Sean B, had done a 7-year run RPG podcast. It's still out there. You can go and check it out at gamingnbs.com. And we've sunset that in June of this past year, 2022. And so some of the folks that you see in the chat come from that. They're fans and listeners and have become friends over time. And so if you are so inclined, the back catalog is there. Most of it, I think, would be evergreen. There's elements and segments to each episode that probably aren't, like we talk about a Kickstarter at the end or something like that. So it's two guys, mildly entertaining. We didn't take ourselves too seriously. Not a big, huge academic nerd in how we present things, and maybe define things might be a shortcoming, but if you're so inclined. But anyways, I don't know why I brought that up. Probably just as context. Oh, BSRCon. That's why. So BSRCon 2 is the second online virtual convention. We did one last year, January, just to see if we could. Well, here's the real motivation. There was a lot of people in the community known as BSers, and we tried to put up like a gaming sign-up sheet where GMs would offer to run kind of their core games that they really like and have done before and appreciate. And then players could express interest in those different games. And then if, the stars aligned, great. They'd play, a 1 or 2, 3 session game to get a taste of that game. Scheduling's really tough for a lot of people, right? Because a lot of BSers or members of the community have their home group. Maybe they even have their own online group. And then they have real life. So, or adulting, if you will. So BSRCon was literally just to set 3 days aside out of the year to be able to facilitate that interaction, to have other members of the community play with other members. And try different games. And so it's just condensed instead of like, when can we try to get this together and off the ground and just do a one shot? So we did BSRCon. We probably had last year, 100 people using Discord, Foundry, whatever virtual tabletop of choice, whatever AV solution they wanted to run, whether it's Zoom, Teams, Skype, completely online. All the proceeds went to the Leukemia and Lymphoma Society. Like literally all the money that we brought in minus the fees and the things that we had to pay for. I think it was like $600 or close to it. Cut a check, boom, done. This year, after some feedback, the same thing. But it's gonna be half the proceeds. So the other stuff's gonna go towards other things, and it's $10 a badge, gets you the whole weekend, and then you can play in. And then the events are free, whatever you want to sign up for. So we've got probably, God, how many events do we have? Shoot, I'd have to double check. I don't even actually know. 50, 60? I don't know. It's quite a bit. Attendance is down a little bit, probably because the podcast isn't going actively and promoting it, but still a good turnout, no complaints. And so if you're interested, you go to gamingnbs.com/BSRCon. Many of the people in the chat are partaking in one way, shape, or form. So the variety of games is what is very impressive to me. Like there isn't 20 of one title. It's all over the place. Savage Worlds, I think, is actually the one that probably has the one system that's probably being, I think, some were canceled, but Savage Worlds, Lady Blackbird, like it's all over the place, some Free League stuff. I'm running Blade Runner on Friday. I'm playing in Against the Dark Master either Friday or Saturday. I don't remember my dates, but they're all kinds of different games. So it's going to be a good, fun time with good people that kind of, if you've listened to the podcast, you kind of know what we're about. Um, yeah. So there you go. There's still time, and I'm not taking down. I'm not cutting the badge registration off. Event submission might. I think I have it set to maybe bring down on the 19th, which is the day before, but I don't know if I'll do that because it'll allow people to post a game. The only problem is I'd have to approve it while I'm running the convention and playing, which will be kind of a pickle. I don't know if I thought that all the way through, but it allows people to kind of put up ad hoc games at the last minute, and people can sign up because I want people to be able to play games. So yeah, there you go, and that's on the 20th, 21st, and 22nd of this month, January, literally a week from today. So people will be online playing frantically. I don't know if I'm going to do a stream Saturday morning. I could. I don't think I have a game Saturday morning next week, so I may stream. The only problem is some of you may be playing games and not be here, and that's okay. So Lucas says these events could be shaping the future of the hobbies in ways. Time will tell for sure regarding the OGL. Feral Game Gamers Inc. Silver lining to the OGL stuff is that more people are buying indie games. Yeah. There's going to be winners. Savage Worlds. Okay, so we won't maybe go on the OGL tangent, but maybe some things some people might not know. For example, Savage Worlds by Pinnacle Entertainment. This was spurred by one of our moderators in our Discord, Eileen, who works at a friendly local game store in the St. Louis area. And she's like, hey, she sometimes polls the community for like, what games should I stock? And so one of them was like Savage Worlds, and she tried to get it and said, well, I can't because it's not available, which is weird because some of us are always under the assumption that that's always usually in a rotation and in stock. Pretty, it's a pretty prevalent product, I guess, in the RPG space, printed wise. And Pinnacle Entertainment tweeted that like they had a print run set for Q1, right? They had an allocated quantity for Q1 printed, and it was gone within the first week of January. So when we talk about the craziness that has been the last week in the tabletop RPG hobby regarding the OGL, there's going to be some winners, ideally. So pretty cool. So going off of that piece, Mark's Genre Mixer says, I'd like to hear your thoughts on it, but I'm a bit burned out hearing about it. I have confidence that OSE, Swords and Wizardry, etc. have plans to adapt and overcome this. Yeah. Fair. I will weigh in, maybe. That's that's probably what I can offer that isn't whatever you've already heard. I think we'll see a publisher, Mark's Genre continues, I think we'll see a new publisher overcome it and assume the number one spot. Ooh, strong, that's bold, strong words. And I'm sure Mark's would say it happened during 4th edition, right? The numbers behind the scenes apparently was that Paizo's Pathfinder overcame D&D for the first time as the number one RPG. Maybe. I talked to my buddy Doc. I haven't talked to him in a while since GameholeCon. I think I caught him perusing my LinkedIn profile, so I hit him up and said, "Hey, what's up?" I said, "What do you think about all this kerfuffle?" Because Doc, let's see, I'm trying to kind of give you an understanding of who my buddy Doc. So if you don't know who Doc is, that's okay. Who the hell's Doc? Who's he talking about? He's a guy here in Madison who I've known for a while. It's kind of interesting, my gaming circles and how they got a lot of Venn diagrams. But regardless, it's a home group I was with, and Doc was one of the guys, and he has been a pretty devout 5e game master, dungeon master. He's run tons of 5e and a lot of organized play, even at the local game store. DDAL, he is He knows rules very well. So back in the Pathfinder days when we were all into that, that's what we ran. So I'm probably speaking out of line by not actually quoting him, but I would say that some of Doc's favorites games in the past have been Shadowrun, Pathfinder, First Ed, and D&D 5e. And I think they even ran 4th edition for quite some time when I wasn't around within the group. I think I had, at that time, I'm not quite sure what I was doing at the time. It might have been before Doc and I started gaming together. Regardless, is that not that I know of. I don't know if he listens to a ton of RPG podcasts. He's a big video gamer, right? Like, plays a lot of the popular video games, probably Elden Ring, Skyrim, a bunch of other stuff I haven't even heard of because I'm not plugged into that. I try to put context around Doc because there are folks that hang out on Discord, consume RPGs, RPG news. They take part in forums and Discord and just stream and tune into streams, right? Doc is, I don't believe, that guy. Okay. So I'm interested to know what somebody who has been an avid 5e game master and player, and I guess somebody that has an appreciation for the system and everything, what their opinion is for everything that's going on, right? Because sometimes you got to get outside your own bubble. And sometimes, I think a lot. And he mentioned that, it's he's kind of quoted like it's a complete shit show. He, and maybe I don't know if I should divulge this or not, but I don't think it's any big deal for somebody to have opinion. So as far as like NFT squashing any company that's behind NFTs, he's all for it. He doesn't think that he doesn't think that WotC's, hey, we want a piece of the pie that we have been allowing people to produce for. Like as a corporation, they want some type of compensation for some of their IP or property or whatever. He's like, I get that. But he said the way that they're doing it is ridiculous. And it's also like if they gave us like a textbook on how to be the biggest villain in 2023, that would be it. I'm summing that up, but essentially that's what he said, which I think. So I also work with a gentleman who only plays 5e and I don't think he's been exposed to, I don't know if he's played any other game significantly. Well, some are significantly younger than me, but he's quite a bit younger. I think his first foray into tabletop role-playing games was 5e or is 5e. I think I briefly before a meeting, company or a department meeting, kind of asked him, but we didn't get into the details. So I didn't really absorb a lot of what his opinion was. I think he was just kind of like, I don't know what's going on. Another guy, another person I'm connected to on LinkedIn knows that I'm an avid RPGer. And he said, oh, I play RPGs too. I kind of play this and I play that. The Star Wars I liked. And I'm kind of out of it a little bit now. And I said something like the conversation led to OGL, and he was like, yeah, I heard about it. Not sure what it's all about. And I know that there's a lot of kerfuffle in like the what do you say? The group space or something like that. Something to the effect of he didn't realize that there were like third party publishers, or that they were just like nonprofit groups that were just creating free content. Like there was a weird I have to talk to this guy because he's got a whole different perception on the industry. And it's interesting to me because I don't know outside of you guys and us. I say us. It's not us versus them, but the demographic breakdown of RPG players to include 5th edition D&D, like how much there's a lot of people that play D&D that just have no clue any of this is happening. Or they'll get wind of it, because I think it's hard to at this point not get wind of it, but they're not going to go to 50 news sites, collect all the information, post it in a Discord, and then we're looking at it like what we're doing on our Discord. Oh, look at this. Look at now what happened, you know? Read the article. Oh my God, what a hot take, whatever, right? So I kind of put that out there because it's interesting how they may not even know a petition's out there to sign. They may not know what the repercussions are of third-party publishers, especially if they don't know who they are or what they do and what the relationship is and what that license even means. And there's a license? What? I thought you could just kind of create your own thing and put it out there. So I think that it's just like all over the place. So I have to say, with the good and the bad of social media, there can be a very, very, very loud minority, which is strange, because if you're tuned into that minority, say they're a minority, because they got to be, based on the huge customer base of 5th edition D&D. That's what's kooky, right? That's also another thing that makes me scratch my head, is because when that breaks out and if there's drama in the RPG space, it may be such a small portion of the overall population of the RPG space. But because social media is like the loudest of loudspeakers, companies freak out, and for the good, sometimes they change, and sometimes for the bad, they change. I don't know. Whew. So there are some instances where I'm like, why is the company even placating the mob, if you will? On the other hand, there's times when I'm like, hey, you know, the mob rules, right? The song Mob Rules. When you listen to Fools, the mob rules. Name the band. So yeah, here's my take. Let me catch up with the chat quick. Murder Hobo Show, what's OGL? Good question. What is it indeed? Michael Holland, lots of 99-cent games on DriveThruRPG now. Definitely want to spread the word on that. So let's spread the word. I can tell you Rune Quest box starter set PDF, Call of Cthulhu box set PDF. Also, I know for a fact Chaosium is not short on litigious actions, if you will. I know personal friends that have gotten cease and desist letters from Chaosium. So when we talk about the OGL and wizards and squashing of creators and things of that nature, like Chaosium, whatever. I'm I don't think I'm going to work for any of these companies anytime soon, but that one perplexes me. One, it's a rule set, and two, it's about. Here's another thing with Chaosium and Call of Cthulhu. First of all, H.P. Lovecraft was really never very popular. I think somewhere somebody discovered him, and then all of a sudden he took off, and rightfully, probably because of the RPG. Otherwise, I don't know if a lot of people would even. Gabe Dibbing, who is literature background, formally educated within the lit space, may have better context around it. I don't know, Gabe, but and I know this, so we know that H.P. Lovecraft, when he created his stories, he allowed other people to use them. like Robert E. Howard and things of that nature. Like it wasn't a big deal. Like he didn't say, hey, you can use my stuff, but you got to pay me like 10% of your shit or your sales. It was just kind of understood that they could all kind of grab each other's ideas and put it into their own works. And that was kind of the deal. Like they had a small circle of authors and those two were part of it. And it was like, hey, great. So August Derleth of Arkham House Press brought back Lovecraft. Okay, good, interesting. So I don't know all about that history, but apparently he might have brought it back. It's public domain, right? Like, isn't all Lovecraft stuff is in the public domain? So here you go. Let's have a role-playing game where copyright, there's some pretty wide latitude on what copyright covers in a role-playing game. Or narrow. Probably that's I misspoke. It's a very narrow thing that copyright covers within a role-playing game piece. Mechanics and things of that nature, not copyrightable. And then you take the subject matter that's H.P. Lovecraft and Cthulhu, which hasn't been in the public domain. Yet, Chaosium is not hey man, if you're going to, some of these other, until like some of these other third-party publishers started getting into that, because somebody will say, but Sean, we have all these other Cthulhu games. So what are you talking about? That may be, and I don't know why they would choose one over another, other than maybe the title might conflict with a current property of theirs or a current work, if you will. So it always struck me as, how do you enforce that as a company? And some people would say, well, there's copyrightable IP. And I'm like, well, is it? Because this isn't in the public domain. I'm not a lawyer. Never have been. Sometimes I play one in a game. Anyways, is it Saturday Speculation Day? What's up, Victor? All over the place. So if you like Stream of Consciousness, you've come to the right stream. Hey-o. This should be my slogan. If you like Stream of Conscious, then you'll like this stream. What else, Dower? Basic role playing has always been free. You can get that. Or basic fantasy. I'm sorry. Basic fantasy's always been free. Basic role playing, the Yellow Book, that is originally what Chaosium is, or Call Cthulhu is, and a few others. That's like $1 or was on drive-through. I'm only tacking on to Michael's, like, hey, there's 99-cent products on drive-through that are really good to grab. Lucas says, I feel it's interesting. We play a hobby that teaches us math, social skills, life lessons, and teamwork. Hasbro doesn't understand its fans. It's great to see us come together over this. Lucas says, great sales right now. Pharaoh, Gamers Inc. One of my own games went gold overnight, which is great. Hey, congratulations. Very props to you. And hey, thanks for creating content, by the way. Herman, hey, good to see you, buddy. It's been a little while. How you doing? A fair bit is all we need. Hey, before you guys leave, before we get to the end, because you'll drop, hit the thumbs up or thumbs down. Okay, I'm just gonna do that right midstream to help out. Probably when most people are here. Victor says there are those in the know and many who aren't, for sure. Joe Swick, was it Motley Crue? Fozzy did a great cover of The Mob Rules. It wasn't Motley Crue. It wasn't Motley Crue. Gabe Dibbing, Wisconsin publisher. Oh, yes. Maybe I did know that. Maybe that's where, I don't remember. There was something, like, I knew how it was brought back was close to home, if you will. And that might have been why. Victor says there was a lot of Lovecraft influence on the horror writing sphere for decades. Feral Gamers Inc. Some of the monsters COC were created by other writers. That is why they own copyright. Got it. Thank you. That makes sense. Lovecraft stuff is public domain. Fair. Call of Cthulhu is trademarked, but not Cthulhu itself. Okay. Okay, that makes sense. Good. See, I learned. Zero Theory, good to see it. Thank you for chiming in. Makes sense. Like, dude, this OGL thing has been an eye-opener. Like, I was like over here and I'm like, whoa, I've been educated. I've been informed. My eyes have opened. Stream of considered? Doesn't that require a stream of coffee? Heyo. Lucas, someone needs to make an adventure about evil wizards trying to take over the world. Too much on the nose. Hey, too soon. Too soon. Hey, too soon? Hashtag too soon. It better not be Yacht Rock, this song. Come on, man. Just look it up. Come. I know who it is. It's rules. Black Sabbath. Black Sabbath did it. Guess it wasn't Ozzy, right? It's Dio. I think with Dio. You guys in there, the Mob Rules? You guys let me down, man. So I will chime in on my humble opinion, my 2 cents, which I don't know. It's probably all it's worth anyway. Maybe not even. 2 cents in a country with a bad exchange rate. OGL1A. So some of the things that I have expressed on our Discord, first of all, at one point, like, I don't know if it was Thursday, Wednesday this past week, I was like, it drove me absolutely bonkers. I was losing my mind because it just perplexed me so much that it was frustrating. Frustrating, like going into your favorite game store, your local game store, and just seeing trash everywhere. Like that frustrating, right? Like what are you guys doing? Why is this a thing? Why did you agree to this? Why did you put your product in jeopardy? I don't understand. Help me understand why you would agree to this stupid thing. And I still don't have a good answer. I still don't have a very good answer. Hey, Sean, this is the reason why. Like, the only viable, and I got to hand it to Brett. Like, Brett, my old co-host, I hit him up, said, hey, what? He's got it in Streets Avalon. Why? And frankly, when I was talking about last week about the invisible hammer, well, in his eyes, it's like it's not invisible. So my analogy was, if rules are not copyrightable and the mechanics and things like that, I know like how it's phrased and things of that nature. Like if you put a lot of fluff, you can get it copyrighted and things of that nature. But copyright is really like pretty clear on like you can't copyright that thing, right? And so I thought, well, people might have just used it so they wouldn't get sued, even though they couldn't, like, there's no merit. And Brett was like, who cares if there's merit or not? And so say Wizards is like, well, that's very, and okay, so my, and to even back that up further, I'm talking about games that aren't even related to D&D. Like, it's not a retro clone. They don't have the same array. Like Fudge. Harrigan has informed me that Fudge has OGL. Like Fudge, D6s with plus minus Fudge dice. Like not even, in my opinion, close to what like really D&D is. Use the OGL. If you're doing D&D stuff or something that is very close to it, or a kind of a derivative, if you will, in some way, shape, or form, I can understand that more. As a matter of fact, if it's like, hey, especially if you're creating content for Wizards properties, for Ds and Ds, like, I got it. Totally get it. The BX clones, all that. I totally understand that. Then I do kind of put the pieces together. But like Delta Green, Arc Dream Publishing, Fudge, like baffles my mind. And somebody could say, well, there's no, like, if Wizards decide, you know what, I'm going to sue you because you created a role-playing game and you didn't use the OGL. And many of us would say, well, what the hell are they suing Fudge for? The authors of Fudge. And they go to court, and first of all, they got to get an attorney. and they got to read the documents and the case, and then they go to court and they file motions and all this other garbage. And then they go to court. Maybe they don't go to court. But there is an investment there that they have to make to kind of just stand their ground. Like, hey, we're being sued. This isn't public defender stuff, right? This isn't criminal versus civil is what I'm saying. But so if you take a publisher, you know, then they don't have the money and resources to do it. So it's just easier to take it and put it in the book. So we'll take our chances that way versus what could happen. That's the only thing that I thought was like, okay, sure, that's a shitty way of having any of this happen. Like, oh, we'll just throw our weight around. We have a high intimidation skill, and we're going to use it all the time. We have a plus 20 on intimidation, and we're playing a D20 game. So the OGL is the is the license of protection, if you will, which grants you a plus 90% bonus on your saving throw versus intimidation. I don't know. Zero Theory says, I told my GF this was probably one of the biggest weeks in all of tabletop RPG history. Michael, it's definitely the top 5 biggest moments for sure. History in the making, for better or worse. Victor, one of the reasons is that people are not lawyers and they know WotC and TSR's litigious history. Bingo, baby. MetaQ, good to see you, man. Good morning, gentlemen, ladies. Harrigan, early fate had it, not fudge. Oh, I am incorrect. I stand corrected. I am wrong. Sorry. Thank you for correcting me. Early fate had it, not fudge. But Evil Hat mentioned that they were using the OGL to somehow reference fudge. I got it, which is right. It's not possible. Sorry. We issued a correction. Feral Gamers Inc., the guy who wanted me, he said he was going to stream. Where is Lou? Lou said he would be here. I did all this research for him. Feral Gamers, many people don't realize that the OGL is just a license created by WotC for themselves and other publisher to use and allow others to create content. Yeah, Nelson, it was a publisher. If I were a publisher, I'd use it. Well, yeah, kind of right. Can I be certain that nothing in my 100-page document is not copywritten? It's a risk on something that doesn't make a ton of money. Yes. That's the only thing that makes sense to me. Like, I get it. Like, if that is it, got it. And I think that's the only thing. And I'm not saying Wizards or D&D based created content, because that's kind of to me that's kind of a no-brainer. If you're gonna create for the house, you gotta abide by the house rules. So that's the only thing, Nelson, that I can kind of understand in this little brain. Maddie, utilizing OGL has been more of a tip of the hat in the past 5 years. Tip of the hat, if you will. Yes, indeed. Distinguished, very distinguished. Victor, another reason is that creators who made things used it to make their thing shareable for others without making their own OGL, even if they didn't need to. Yeah. Which still perplexes me. You can't share your stuff if you don't have the OGL? Like, what? Huh? I know I'm butchering that, Victor. Maddie, I play regularly in the creator's Hyperborea game, and it's been a worrisome little thorn in the side of our group. Not smart, but they did, yeah. So, my opinion. Okay, so having said that, WotC's going to roll it back. I believe there is going to be a new OGL. It just is. There is. It will supersede 1.0. It's going bye-bye. It just is. The free lunch is over. But if you stocked up a bunch of that free food, great. So I think what's going to happen is Wizards will put something out. I have no idea how they're going to do it, because they are in direct conflict of how they are going to try to further generate revenue for an under-monetized property. So in like, come on, some of you got to understand this. If you look at all the Kickstarters like MCDM, Cobalt Press, Paizo doesn't do a lot of Kickstarters, but look at their product line, and the business exists because of the OGL, like, I guess, for lack of better words, right? Like they are paying people salaries, and they've got a warehouse and, staff. They probably have almost just as much staff as Wizards does, honestly, in the D&D space. Okay, Wizards got a lot more overall because they got Magic and things of that nature, and digital, where Paizo not so much. Maybe they have a little bit smaller, but as far as I think, if you put RPG team to RPG team, like strictly print and rules and stuff, they're probably not wholly dissimilar in size. Speculation, armchair quarterback. I have no proof that is accurate, but I don't care. And so what Wizards is like, they're operating under our license that we put out, and we want some of that pie. Like they even said it in the 1.1 draft, was like, we didn't put out the 1.0 so that our competitors could eat our lunch. That's the rub. So I think what will happen, and they mentioned it already, but they just haven't put it out formally, is that they're not going to collect on works that are already done and created and out in the pipeline. So if somebody's got a Kickstarter, Wizards or Paizo's got Pathfinder out in the wild, they're not going to come and take ownership of those creations, which is good. So I think if they did that, they'd burn the hobby to the ground. Like, it would just be the worst thing that could probably happen to the RPG hobby since TSR almost going bankrupt, or D&D literally just disappearing. So there you go. I think that they will definitely put in an OGL 2 or 2.2 or whatever it's going to be, that will be, hey, you can like use our stuff and write for us, but here is the deal. And they're going to have some strange, like, maybe they'll have 2 licenses. And they were kind of alluding to that anyway, commercial and non-commercial. I don't know what that looks like, though. And I think that's going to be, and frankly, they've already pissed off everybody, almost, at least a lot of people in the know. So how do they even say, okay, here's the deal. You can create content for us, but we need a cut of that, because it's our stuff. I think their best bet would be to adhere to something that is similar to the DM's Guild now. So we're going to give you a box of stuff that you can use when you create things for 1D&D. Could be pictures, could be rights to IP and creative works. And that's it. So it'll be just like DM's Guild, the Apple App Store. We're going to get a piece of that regardless. So if you want to write for it, you upload it into our ecosphere, you get 50% and we take 50%. I think that's what it's going to be. And it might be just like, that's the deal. And I think it has to be something that's like DM's Guild, because DM's Guild's doing it already. It's already in place. So when people throw up their arms and like, what the hell? Actually, I think it's 30. Is it 30 or 50? Like, I think Wizards gets 30, Bookshelf gets 20. Is that something like that? You guys can confirm something like that. I think that's the deal. So instead of maybe like putting it on DM's Guild, they make their own online store, which might be tough because I don't know what the agreement is with One Bookshelf. And they just take One Bookshelf's cut. So now it's increased their take from 30 to 50%. Oh, come on, Augie. I gave you treats already. Hold on a second. So I think that's the deal. I don't know about the Cobalt presses, and I don't know. That's the weird thing. Like when you know. So having said that, it'll be very easy. This is what's going to really muddy waters is if they do that. Much of the industry has already said like we're not gonna sign on. At this point, I think they're at the point where they're not going to sign on regardless of what it says. The bigger orgs, maybe the smaller independent publishers like Sean Basement Inc. might, because it might be a good overall. I mean, there might be they could still be the juggernaut after all this. And I'd rather create it for the biggest audience possible and a smaller percentage than the smallest the percentage for the smallest, the smallest, but a smaller audience. Does that make sense? So there's talks about, so that's what I think. There's going to be one. What that looks like, who knows? They're going to try not to piss everybody off in the entire creative space. It will be a walled garden. They're going to push digital tools. I don't know how much print they're going to do. I think we can all agree on that. As far as the other guys, Cobalt Press, MCDM, Paizo, they're all talking about the open RPG license that they're going to all come together and agree upon. Many of those companies already, some of them already have their license. Like Modifius has put out something. Free League did, but I don't know if they pulled it to review it. Monty Cook Games has one for Cypher and some of their properties. Here is something that is still making me scratch my head. And I understand why people who create would want to create for a specific property. Hey, I love Cypher System. I do my own homebrew. I'm a game master. I just love everything Monty Cook Games puts out. I'm the biggest fan person of Monty Cook Games. I love Monty Cook Games. In my case, it'd be Free League, right? Love it, love it, love it, love it, love it, love it, love it. And I think I'm going to write, or I have written, so I'm going to write for their game. Wizards and Hasbro is publicly traded, but Monty Cook Games is still a corporation. Yes, they're smaller. They don't have the same drive or drive for profit that Hasbro does and the shareholders. Totally get it. Still a corporation. They still have to make money. These aren't not profits. Now, Sean, we get that, but Paizo and those guys, they're putting together, they've vowed to put together a foundation, a non-for-profit that a corporation won't own for the open RPG license. And I say, great, because that's the way it should be. Like, if you want to do like open source, yeah, probably you can have sponsors maybe of this movement, but they're not the owners of that license. Because that's kind of how we got into this pickle, right? Because let's face it, OGL is Wizards of the Coast. It's not anybody else's. It's their license. just still mind-boggling to me when you're not creating for it, you put it in your book. So going back to copyright, if you don't use a lot of the one-for-one work and you don't get into like the verbiage around some of the details in some of these creators, like these publishing houses, a lot of it's not copyrightable. So then I would say, why would you agree to any license other than Creative Commons, which Basic Role-Playing has vowed to use? So if you're not familiar with Basic Role-Playing, it's a BX derivative that's always been free, which is awesome because they probably don't have anything to lose, really, other than being cease and desist and can't actually put out their product, period. But they're not making money off it. So I think I scratch my head and go, if it's a foundation, okay, maybe the open RPG license, what does that look like? Because if you have, because MCDM is going to do their own RPG, Cobalt Press is going to do their own RPG, Black Flag, and Paizo has Pathfinder 2 and Starfinder, and there's DCC. I mean, there's a plethora of them that are signing onto this open RPG license. My gut tells me that it's going to be very generic, so it'll be very open. And then there'll be a clause that says, if you want to write for Cobalt Press properties, these are the things that are, ours and you can't touch. But everything else falls under the open RPG. Like, you own your own work. We aren't going to make money off of it. But even within Wizards, kind of backtracking on the open game license, they said they were trying to protect it from bad actors. I mean, I'm summing that up. It's not literally what they said, but it's a summation of like, hey, we want to protect it from people that would use it would misrepresent it. Monty Cook Games has that in their license. Like, hey, if you basically like use it in good faith, don't be an asshole, and you're good. I don't know. I just, if rules are not copyrightable, then why? And frankly, if you got to read the doctoral, I would probably find it and post it. If you haven't, I'll find it right now. Because it's right in front of me somewhere. If you haven't read Cory Doctorow's article, it is a freaking eye opener. And that guy is not a knucklehead. You hear that, Cory? I deem you a non-knucklehead. Get out of here, Augie. I just gave you treats. For everybody that doesn't know, Augie is my annoying cat that is strung out on crack cat treats. Oh, please, I'm finding it. Where is it? Oh, I scroll. It's got to be. Did I not save it? Here it is. I will put it in the chat because I think it's probably one of the better articles. And I say better because it just kind of helps make sense. But if things aren't copyrightable, and even if you say you can use it with this game, like that's not copyrightable. Like saying you can use it with D&D 5th edition. There's no, like, you can't say that? Yes, I can. So why don't you just do it? But Sean, somebody's going to sue me and I'm going to be tied up in litigation. And I don't want to do that. So I'm just going to acquiesce. Ugh, that would suck. All the way around. For sure. I empathize. But this can't go on like that forever. We can't just be creating, like, for fear of these effed up litigations. That, in my little brain, I'm wondering if that's why there's no money in RPGs. Because it's such an ethereal story based, like you write a book, there's a copyright. When we sit down at the table, it's a shared experience, but there isn't like work. Somebody could say, like, if I did an actual play and I put that out, that could be copyrightable, I think, right? Because it's like a derivative of work, right? It's like work product, right? I don't know. Like, it's still kind of fuzzy to me, but I don't know, man. I just don't get it. So going back to like video games, things like that. How do you the coding? Coding, you can't copyright code, but you can copyright what is made from the code, right? I'm not a lawyer. Do not take lawyerly advice from me for sure, but I just find it strange. If you created a board with spaces on all four sides and you collected chits, you could buy the space for chits as long as you don't use any of that Monopoly lingo. You could put it out, but they'll sue you. That's a different. Yes, probably. But I don't know. It's strange to me. It's strange to me. Holy cow, did I miss something here? Oh yeah, you guys went crazy. Let me catch up. If I were a publisher, okay, Nelson mentioned that. Sorry, went too far back. Zero Theory, you could, but people may not know without the OGL to make their content open. Talking about whether you can make it shareable without the OGL, I think, right? Anyways, links in a chain, though. The black hack having OGL language drove a lot of the offshoots to have it too. Right. So it was almost, hey, we know a guy who's done zines, and in the zine or somewhere it's referenced OGL. And why? Well, because he was doing it for a particular game system, and he went to the game system person and said, hey, or core game kind of governor, and said, hey, I'm going to write this for insert game. They said, that's cool as long as you put in the OGL. Okay. Victor says, I know a few have used it the way from the G Plus days. Lucas Watsi did comment on what's going on. They did. Victor, if you can get the copyrightable content out of their third-party project, they will now be more open to create their things. Matty Q, my main question is, how does the ORC cover games that haven't been created under Paizo's rule set, like Hyperborea, for instance, is clearly based on first edition D&D? How does switching work? So good question, Matty Q. So I think this goes to kind of what I was explaining. The ORC is probably going to be like, hey, here, if you want to create for Pathfinder 2, you're going to abide by ORC 1, version 1. And the ORC is going to cover this. Anything you create is going to be your own. You own it. You can make revenue and generate as much revenue as you want from it, blah, 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 blah. All the mechanics, anything that is non-copyrightable will be granted to you. Here, hey, you can't, it's not copyrighted anyway, so you get to use it, which is something Doctorow references in his article. Like, that's stupid as hell. Why are you agreeing to that when it's already out there anyway? Like, he's like, it is, read his article. I'm telling you, it's fantastic. And then at the bottom, it's going to say, but the following is not. Like, so there will be a little spot that each company will be able to put in their own terms, their own IP. Like, top half, it'll apply to everyone. Bottom half, that's where it's going to be like, you can't use this, you can't use this, you can't use that. So they will probably talk about, and it won't be wholly dissimilar from like OGL in that regard. And they'll make it like, what is it? Persistent or prevalent and irrevocable and all this other stuff that everybody's in a kerfuffle about. So I think that's what's going to happen. So you just rip off your OGL, put in the ORC, woo, lampshades and revolvers. Yeah, tip to Harrigan. Victor Wyatt, the free lunch may be gone, but restrictions are going away with it. Yeah. Restrictions? What restrictions? Man, the hobby has, like, nobody's enforced anything on those OGLs. Like, it's been Sodom and Gomorrah around here, man. Like, for 20 years. Do they got to change all their rule sets? It depends on how the rule sets are verbalized, right? There's a perfect example, I think, in Doc Rowe's article where he talks about a spell. So if you are very, very much when you cast a spell, you roll a die, you add this to it and see, and what is the effect of it? It changes the target into a puddle of mud. Like, that is not copyrightable. If you say Big B's forceful hand, you roll a D20 and add your tagline, superficial, licious talent XYZ, and a great explosion takes place and mud is splattered upon the earth of Greyhawk, blah, blah, blah. That is probably getting into some copyrightable area. Like, it's the very robust, flavorful stuff, because that's the difference. Again, this guy, not a lawyer. This ain't done. This ain't done at all. You know what? Here's the thing. No matter what WotC puts out, no matter what it is, they could give D&D away for free. People are going to be like, no way, no way. There's going to be still pissed off people somewhere. Rule mechanics aren't copyrightable. Bingo, zero theory. Right. But it's also how it's framed. That's the thing. So when you start getting into these role-playing games and they start coming up with their own systems, like, geez, can we pick a good role-playing game where it's like, dude, you don't want to touch that thing because everything is like liable to be outside of the non-copyrightable stuff? Would be like anytime they come up with something, they put in flavor text. That's why I think everybody should just like take somebody really ambitious should get a 1D&D subscription, get all the rules, and then remove all that stuff that's copyrightable and then put out the rules for free. Done. That's what you should do. That's the cool. Then put it out as Creative Commons. Wouldn't that be hilarious? You can't sue anybody for this. Just remove Forgotten Realms, Beholder, Mind Flayer, any of those things. Like, yeah, that's ambitious there. That would be a big middle finger, I think. I'm just saying. It does, but WotC stands for successful legal action gets smaller. It does not stop C&D letters and fear, though. Never will. Zero therapy, we need a pupper cam. Pupper cam. Augie's my cat, just so you know. I'll get maybe a pupper cam. Victor, Eclipse Phase does similar. They make purchasable package of IP for each of their books on drive-thru. Interesting. Feral Gamers Inc. I removed all my OGL stuff and plan on never doing anymore. I can understand why. I've never made anything under an open license, but I definitely would consider for ORC just to support them. Just understand it. That's all. Just understand what it really all means. And hopefully nowadays, right? Like when OGL 1 came out, well, I mean, let's face it, the world has changed. Like, well, 20 years ago, right? Would be 2000s. Sure, we had internet, but nothing like social media like it is today. So nowadays, when that ORC comes out, it's gonna be looked at under a fine-tooth comb for sure. So you will definitely have some advice out there to understand more about it. Some companies believe in the rising tide raising all ships, and some, WotC, don't. Oof. Nelson, is there a searchable list of words and phrases that would violate the OGL? So this is where the system reference doc comes with, Nelson. So the purpose of the SRD is to complement typically the OGL, if I'm not mistaken. Again, I could be wrong. Can you believe that? I could be wrong. Can you believe somebody on the internet would actually admit they're wrong? I'm okay with that. But they would put out an SRD and say, hey, you want to use anything in the SRD, go nuts. But anything outside the SRD falls under the open game license and creative work, IP, and so then that would be a problem. That's why when you read SRDs, they're so bland. It takes out all the fluffy language, right? Because it's not copyrightable. So they're kind of like doing you a favor by putting it out there and then you can use it. So there is a 5e SRD out there. There is the only thing you have to do is go and print it. You should be able to just go and print it for free. Nothing. Put it in a book. You could probably even put it on drive-through. Bam, here. Like, I don't know why anybody hasn't done it. Just buy Osric. Probably one of the better examples. So there is, but I'm not, that's I think the closest thing, Nelson, as far as I know. Wow, I am way behind. You guys are like, dude, we talked about that like 10 minutes ago, Sean. You better catch up, bruh. Zero Theory CC can include your lore. Call Cthulhu, he says, can include your lore, but not just rules if you're not writing to include the lore of your book to be open. Not always, though. Victor says, Ironsworn and Starforge are both CC. Good comment. Oh, Creative Commons. Sorry, Zero Theory. Creative Commons can include your lore, not just rules if you're not wanting to include the lore of your book to be open. Not always, though. Got it. Yes. Victor says, Ironsworn and Starforge are both Creative Commons. Like, why doesn't everybody do Creative Commons? Why? Because I'm telling you, right? Think about it. Cobalt Press, Paizo, what do they all have in common? They're all corporate entities. Creative Commons. Just ask them. Hey, if you're not worried about screwery, why don't you just do Creative Commons? Come on. Feral Gamers, agreeing to the OGL for D&D allowed the user to copy from the SRD, which some games have done. Read through the rules of, say, Carbon 2176. You will see the rules have been copied direct from the SRD. Oh, interesting. I actually had that game and I gave it up. It was in on the Kickstarter. I didn't know they copied exactly the SRD. It's funny. It allowed you to copy from the SRD. What? Like, there's so much weird, like, nudge, nudge, wink, wink. We allow you to do this. What do you mean you allow me to do it? I can do this. Like, it's get off my lawn. Zero Therapy, gotta run. See ya, buddy. Nelson, I remember a list of no-go things published by WotC many years ago. I'd have to do some searching for it. It's a hobby, not an industry. Well, depends on what side of the fence you're on. Monetizing hobbies are really hard. Maybe. Scrapbooking? I mean, how do you define a hobby? Something you do and enjoy that's not a job? I don't know, Victor. All my income comes from selling my RPGs. Oh, he's serious. The fear is they will sue you. They will fail, but you will lose lots of money in the process. For sure. Covered that. And that's awesome. Fair. Okay. Becoming a real industry, Victor, and it's hard. Painful. Yeah. I could see that here again. Growing pains. Gabe Dibbing. The only way I could see any further licenses functioning is by granting language that describes the mechanic, like the SRD. Huh. Lampshades. Boom, boom. Roman lives. Roman lives. Lampshades and revolvers. The RPG of getting drunk and shooting stuff. Hey-o. Direct from game. Yeah. Saltheart, good to see you. You can use any mechanics, no license needed. Nobody patents game mechanics. Period. End of discussion. Absolutely. Copyright law there. There you go. Thank you very much. I look forward to this Lampshades game. Oh my God. Is it OGL? Hey, shots fired. Maddie, hashtag too soon. Maddie Q, I read a bit and the ORC will require you to basically deposit your rule set into the collective. It will be ever expanding and held in trust perpetually. Why would you submit your rules into an ORC? Well, rather, I would understand why you would do it as a corporation, but why would you just not use them? I don't know. I think there's going to be, I just think there's fuckery going on. Like in the end, these are corporations. They're made to make money and they're there to protect their property, rightfully so. But as a creator and you're creating for them, they're going to want to control your shit. So don't do it. Create your own shit. Use the mechanics. Hey, here's 4 traits. You roll, each trait gets a point. For every point, it's a D6. You roll a D6. If you roll above, if you roll a 6 on the die, you win. If you don't, you lose. Like, hello, Year Zero engine everywhere. Like, that just, But Sean, they're going to sue us. Fuck them. WotC does have a patent for MTG. I don't know if it's a patent and you're talking about tapping, and I believe it's a trademark. What the difference is, I have no idea. I have to look it up, and you're making my head hurt, Victor. It's a trademark. It's weird. I don't know why or how they got it, but you cannot. It doesn't allow you to not take a card and change it like this. When you explain the rules, you can't use the term tapping. That's it. So you remove that and you say you move the card sideways. You move the card and turn it to the right. You take the card from horizontal and lay it vertical. Like, you don't have to use tapping. And guess what? Boom, done. Because every card game does it. Every card game does it. They just can't call it tapping. So just in that case alone, use their rules and their mechanics. Just remove the stuff that's that weird lingo crap. Tapping is an interesting one, right? Tapping a card. I think in that case, you'd be like, oh, that's totally copyrightable or trademarked in this case. Maybe it should use Saltheart's new system, which I still need to play. Saltheart will sue. It's open. Share and share alike. Creative Commons 4.0. Booyah. Booyah, Grandpa. Medicue. Again, utilize your eye tyrants and brain teeters in a nice game of Simbaroom. There you go. Morning all. Little late to this morning. I was forced to partake in a little too much vino last night of the house wine gremlins. Oh, well. Orcus Dorcas, good to see you. Murder Hobo Show. I hate OGL talk because I find it super interesting, but it affects me in no way. But I can't stop reading or listening to content about it. I hate it. I'm with you, Murder Hobo. Totally. Half of us aren't like. Here is the thing, though. Some of us are affected by it because we have games that have OGL in it, and they shouldn't. So if we like the game and they're going to put out supplements, are they going to stop? Possibly. But I agree. It's not. I'm not a creator that has OGL stuff in it. But yeah, it is. It's intriguing because it's like it's just you're at a party and you can't stop watching the craziness that's going on. You're like, what? No, what? Huh? What? I could never believe that, Sean. You are all right in my book. Nelson, isn't the SRD a basic version of the rule set? Bard is in there. Can I use Bard? Would strength as a stat get me in trouble? Very confusing. And that's where it comes in. That's the rub, right, Nelson? Like, I don't know. Should I? I don't know. I'll just get the OGL. I'll be fine. So the SRD, that's the thing. I think I'm going to put out, I would use it and just put it out there and blam. The WotC patent for Magic the Gathering is blah. Oh, it is a pen. Okay, but it's for tapping, right, Victor? I apologize. I thought it was just trademark. Roman lives. Patents are hard to get. Trademarks are all about trade dress and product ID and blah, blah, blah. Victor, it's patent on the whole rule set, not tapping. Oh, okay. Well, thank you for that. But what is, I got to read that patent because you can make a card game. People have done it and they've used very similar mechanics. Legend of the Five Rings, for Game of Thrones, the spoils. Like there's been some World of Warcraft, Spycraft, Call of Cthulhu. Some of them are a little bit different. But I think I don't know. It's got to be much of the flavor piece, right? Orcus Dorcas, there is a lot of posturing going from many of the publishers who see this as an opportunity, but with the OGL fuckery, this should be a lesson to all to go through it all with fine-tooth comb. Yes, it really does matter. A whole bunch of great companies and sole proprietors in harm's way. Salt, Heartburn, 2d6 tonight, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Need perhaps another player. If you want to play in Salt Heart's new game, check it out. Probably want to chime in on the Discord. If you haven't joined our Discord, go to gamingnbs.com/Discord. But Sean, you're on How to RPG. I know. I don't know if I can change the channel name now, but maybe I'll consider that. Prepping BS or con games. Don't forget to do that. Jason Weitzel, good morning. Joining late. Hey, did anyone hear about this whole OGL kerfuffle? Hey, cray. Yo. Hear the rim shot as Jason Weitzel enters the room. I would just love nothing more. Creative Commons. If a publication has Creative Commons, I'm like interested to even know more about it. And my dog's probably calling me. Hold on a second. Bear with me. Okay. Yes. All right. Little dog is doing little dog stuff. So if you are new here, that is my prompt to take out my little dog before it poops or pees on my floor. So the question is, so if you'd like to stay, that would be great. I am not done talking, although I do have to cater to my dog. So if you're watching this after the stream, just forward a few minutes. Okay. I hope to see you when I get back, but I understand if you drop. And before you drop, make sure you hit like and subscribe. Make sense? Sweet. I will be right back. Bear with me. Why don't I have a break sign? Oh, I do have a break. All right, back. Final floors for the win. All right, where'd I leave off? Crazy animals. Burn 2d6 trademark. you can get it trademarked, right? It's a name. All right. You could change your YouTube channel name. Yeah, I guess I could. I don't know. I don't know if does it matter? Orcus Dorcas, grab, burn 2d6 trademark. Oh, God, look at this. Copyright, OGL, da-da-da. Last night in the pub. Oh, you got a copy. Cool. Roman, I like this channel because he has an NPR voice but talks about shit I'm actually interested. Thank you, Roman. You are one of a few that have said something similar. I don't hear my radio voice, but I have a face for radio. Thanks for sticking around. Nelson says, I could be wrong, but I believe that WotC has a fairly small list of items that could actually violate not using the OGL. This whole problem may be smaller than everyone thinks. I'm probably wrong. I just think it's going to be the first one that steps up to the plate and takes one on the head. And I don't know if anybody's willing to do that. The RPG hobby is just not. It's not a, hey, we're Microsoft and we're going to lose, we're going to go to fight for Java against Oracle or something, it's just, or patents when it comes to stuff like that. There's tons of lawsuits within the tech industry about ownership of those patents. And sometimes they just buy companies for patents. RPG hobby, no money. So you get the 500-pound gorilla and their team sends you a C&D and you're Sean RPG Incorporated. Yeah, it's going to suck big win. I just think it's crazy where rules and some of these things are just not copyrightable. I mean, there should be like SRDs for everything that's out there and you can just use them and then you can go, you can use this with Twilight 2000, OSC, D&D, Pathfinder 2, and you can, like, Doctor was like, it's not illegal. That's the thing. There's like there's like a weird illusion of control that some of these companies are trying to enforce. Okay, got it. Victor's doing homework for me. I think there's just this weird, and you know what? Rightfully so. But you're not publishing, as long as you're not publishing it saying, like, I'm publishing this under Monty Cook Games. Like, I'm part of Monty Cook Games. You can't, like, put their brand, their logo on there. But can you say, yeah, you can use it for that? I mean, what the hell? I don't know why you wouldn't be able to. You could probably say Monty Cook Games is a trademark, copyright by Monty Cook Games, for use used without permission. I don't know, man. I still think that there's some weird, dirty little secret where it's that thing. Copyright covers these things, and then it doesn't cover these things. And I think a lot of the RPG hobby falls into the mechanics piece. As long as you don't care about all the fluffy shit, that's the beef. That's the beef I have. So licenses be damned, if you will. Now, don't expect any of those companies to put your stuff in their store. Da-da-da. Like, I think there should be a group that just does that. Like, hey, we're an open group that releases all our stuff under Creative Commons, attribution, whatever. And you buy this to support me in my creative endeavors. Actually, not even a license, because the Creative Commons is a license. So just copyright it. It's your own. Don't use any copyrightable material and put it out there. Oh, CJ, isn't the proposed nonprofit behind the piezo-backed ORC do that? But why would you need it? That's one of the beefs with OGL. Dr. O says people agreed to it and they didn't even need it. It's actually worse because it restricts you to only doing this. Like they're granting you permission to do something you already had permission to do. But because it's in the license, then they put in all this muckety muck. Amazingly to prevent the shit WotC was thinking of doing. Dude, I just think you got, like, what? Why? Solid Hard patent the mechanics, copyright, specific expression, text, terms, characters, settings, trademark, specific marking, making, identifying a thing's company. Thank you. Roman lives. Basic fantasy is scrubbing OGL. Yep, they're going to CC terms, and in anything that sniffs a WotC IP and find visual rebrand of kobolds is freaking amazing. They look like mean little schnauzers. Mainly to prevent the shit WotC was thinking of doing, CJ says. Yes, but who's doing it? The companies. Why? Because they're going to take that, they're going to put it to their company, and then they're going to make a clause that says you can't use any of this stuff because that's our intellectual property, which is great. But why? Just write your own shit. Why are you getting a license involved? Because, Sean, I can't write for Monty Cook Games if I don't adhere to their license. I can't write and say that it's for Cypher System if I don't agree to this ORC and reference like Monty Cook Games or whatever. Like, just, I don't know. Somebody's going to watch this and go, that guy's crazy. That guy's off his rocker. Am I? I don't know. We don't talk about it enough. This copyright kerfuffle. Shh. Hey. No. Sean, hey. No. Let that cat out of the bag. Oh, for Pete's sakes. Yes. I'm going out. Be right back. Hold on a second. Apologies. I gotta learn just to take that animal out. Pupper cam. All right. What I miss? Binding smaller companies together under the ORC umbrella makes a WotC lawsuit trying to shut down your single-person company look like a form of monopoly. Mind you, I'm super excited to see all the original stuff these talented creators will come up with. The lesson has been people publish 5e compatible stuff because it sells. For sure. Hashtag nailed it. People like learning one, maybe two game systems, and then sticking with them. Most of us are the outliers, hence why people shoehorn 5e mechanics to do stuff it was never meant to. Yes, you get attention by publishing a popular supplement that pays way better than most small print run original games. Hopefully the content creators that help blow 5e up will do the same for other systems. Yeah. Yes. Let's hope. I think it's going to be okay. I think it's going to be okay. I am interested in talking to those like my colleague at work who's a little younger, whose first entry into RPGs has been 5th edition. Yeah. Here's another thing too. A buddy of mine who I used to game with, he's got some ailments. And he's like, hey, I got to use D&D. Like everybody's like, cancel your D&D Beyond subscription. And he's like, hey, I got to read, the reader. Like I use it because it's easier for me to read. And so he's like, and then if you're not if you're not against them, then you're for them, dude. Like you're part of the problem. And we can't do that. That's no good. Like if somebody wants to cancel their D&D Beyond subscription, then fine. If they don't, then fine. It's really that easy. Like it's that they have a reason to keep it. We don't know that reason. And if they want to play one D&D, I've mentioned this on a stream before. If people want to play one D&D and they're not in the know about the OGL, you know what? So be it. It's going to probably fracture the hobby a little bit. And people get really perturbed about that stuff. Like super, super. Why don't one D&D players play other games? I don't know. They just don't want to. It's like trying to convince them to buy something they don't want to buy. Like, hey, you drive a car. How come you don't drive a Ford? American made. Like it's just a weird thing. So I know most of you are pretty open. A lot of us play a lot of different games. Some of us play 5th edition. That's great. And that's okay. So I think as things move forward, the education helps, understanding what's going on, what the impacts are, and then people making their own decision. If a buddy of mine's gonna, like if my buddy, I'm interested to hear my buddy Jeff, he is like, I think a majority of the players out there. I think he's the guy who he's played GURPS, he's played D&D, he's played Pathfinder, he's played Star Wars, but he is like, I would say he's more D&D guy. Like he'll sit down, yeah, we're going to play D&D. I know what D&D is. I know the rules, 5th edition. Yeah, great. I don't know if he knows about all the other kerfuffle that's going on. And frankly, I don't even know if he gives a shit. Now, as they move to 1D&D, depending on what that looks like, if there aren't necessarily books, he may say, because I think he's starting to get into like my dad level where he's like he's never been an overly technical guy. So I think that if it gets into strictly apps, he won't be interested. So if you can't own the book, many of us are like that. That's why I own a book. And, there were people like, oh, so you cancel your D&D subscription, huh? How about kissing all your books goodbye? You can cancel your D&D Beyond subscription and still have the books that you purchased through it and not give them a recurring revenue stream. Now, if they take those books away, then it's a bit of a problem, of course. But that is not what's happening. One D&D is going to be so VTT focused, yeah, which is another concern about like Foundry. So does Wizards sue Foundry because they're a VTT? I don't think they are. I don't think that's what's going to happen. Now, if they see D&D content on there, they may get a little bent out of shape. But I think it's going to be like, and it may hurt Foundry because if the majority of their players, like Roll20, has all been D&D, and they can't put D&D in their Foundry VTT, then I understand it. But where, again, if it's rules, like that's, again, they may get a taste of the old C&D, and Foundry may have to be like, okay, fine. I won't have D&D as a system. But what makes it D&D? Like strength, wisdom, dexterity, intelligence, charisma, constitution, 1 to 18 is not what makes it D&D. Like what makes it D&D is like all the trade dress, right? Like all the Big B's magic hand or whatever it's called, and Elminster and in Forgotten Realms and Red Wizards of Thay, and the creative pieces around describing things, maybe, right? There is a difference between going into here's the deal. If you got a house and you just painted the walls all white and you put in standard furniture, that's SRD uncopyrightable. You start putting your own touches on it, like, I'm going to change the drapes to look really cool, and I'm going to put in this automation, I'm going to put in this type of carpeting, and I'm going to put in red and green lights, and this is going to be my house. Maybe. But even then, people could take it and do it themselves. That's a bad analogy. But I think you guys know what I'm talking about. The VTT space is going to be, that might be tough. But if you're not touching Wizards crap, your VTT is fine. Like, how come nobody has sued Foundry or the module creators of the games? Because you can use them. Here's the thing. As a matter of fact, this is a perfect example. Savage Worlds. I was going to run a year ago. I was going to run Savage Worlds. Forget about it. And I was going to use a VTT because it's online. And I decided to choose Foundry because that's my VTT of choice. So I installed Savage Worlds. And it got me character sheets. And I could click on things, and it said Savage Worlds as far as the system goes. And it used like the different dice for the abilities, and it had it even had all the trait names. Like all the traits, all the hindrance names. The thing is all the text for those weren't in there. So if I wanted to read what a hindrance was, I didn't have anything other than the title. Now, if I bought the Savage Worlds official module, it was the exact same. It just filled in all those blanks. And frankly, that's a safe way to do it. Like, I'm not going to, it's literally just bare bones, but it allowed me to put characters in there. I ended up buying the Savage Worlds one. I think it cost me like $10. So then I could have, when the person brought up their character sheet and it was like, hindrance, what hindrance? Oh, it's, what's not a hindrance, boon, advantage, trait, whatever. And you clicked on it and it was like ambidextrous. Then you are ambidextrous. You get this. I think it even allowed you to put like the bonus math would all work out too. So I think that's a perfect example. And guess what? Pinnacle never sued them because they had Savage Worlds in their VTT. Delta Green still has not sued them. Now, in Delta Green, there is not an official Delta Green module for Foundry. Just a character sheet. But it's a percentage system. So you fill in the blanks. Like, I don't need the rules in there to facilitate half of what I need to do. So But if Delta Green's like, we want to put our book in there, we want things linked, and it could explain the rules, they could do that and sell it. That's what much of Free League has done. But there, you can go to Foundry, install whatever game Free League has, like Coriolis, Alien, whatever, has the character sheet, just doesn't have anything else. You could click on the buttons. It works like the mechanics should work. You want to spend like $14 whole to get all the rules that are behind some of those things in their product. You do that, you get the official module, you install it, and then all the little the text and flavor stuff is all filled in. It's not over. When will it be over? WotC can't go on forever. They cannot cancel a press conference about the next version. There is obviously a disconnect. I'm telling you, I want to do a video so bad. I got a video idea. I don't know if I can pull it off, but it is hilarious. It would be hilarious. Dude. It's so funny. Cynthia Williams comes from Xbox, right? Closed system, man. That's the way it rolls. You get an exclusive game. You want to play Forza, and I mean, that's why they bought a game studio, right? And so anything that game studio creates, you can only play those games on Xbox. That's the deal. That's the value, right? Because if you can play a game on Xbox or PS5, well then, shit. But if I want to play Halo, the only place to play Halo is Xbox. That's the deal. So you got to understand where all this stuff is coming from. However, the guy that she hired comes from Dynamics, which is an ERP. And like my buddy Jim over on the Discord would say, if you have like a software as a service piece, then you want actual people to tie into it, right? They kind of grow dependent on it. And that's where the OGL has always been. So you have these two people in the Wizards chain and executives, and it's like one knows one world and one knows the other. Although I would argue that ERP is not always an open software as a service type platform as much as maybe some others. I think there's some parallels we can draw from. Oh, Victor, I don't know. Did she have something to do with Mixer, or was that just a rumor? I don't know. Honestly. I think she held multiple roles at Microsoft. I think the one that stands out the most is like the Xbox piece, like console world. I don't know if she was involved with Mixer. I don't even know if there was like where that would have fallen under at Microsoft. Ty, dude, you either just joined or you've been very quiet. And not, you know. Yeah, I know you have opinions, Ty. The more you talk about it, the more power you give them. The more you talk about what? What are you talking about? Robert Swain? Hello, Robert. The stuff I don't care to play or see in my D&D party defines D&D. Fair. Look, some of us don't like D&D. Who has picked up a copy of Tiny D6 Saints and Sinners? I have not. Tell me more. I think we all have our preferences, and we're very passionate about the hobby, which I think is good. Sometimes I think it's bad. In anything, whenever you get super, super, super passionate about something, it's hard to see the forest through the trees. It's hard to have a discussion. It's hard to see somebody else's point of view. It just is. That's why I try to take a very middle of the road approach with things, because I think it just leads to a better understanding, if you will. So there you have it. That's my opinion. I don't know if it's worth, anything necessarily, but it is interesting. It's very interesting. And again, we're not done with it. So we'll see. Other than that, like, there was not a ton of news that I would be able to share that would be interesting this week. We're going to get a lot more rule systems. I don't know if that's necessarily a bad thing. I think it'll, who knows? We could have the next biggest RPG company come out of this. Cobalt Press, MCDM. Like, here's the thing. It's kind of strange if you look at it. Think about the hobby as it has been for a little while now. And going back to what CJ was saying is, hey, if you want to make money or you want to be a creator type and you want to, like, if you want to do a Kickstarter, I mean, how many Kickstarters have we gone through on this stream where it's 5e and they're all funded? So I think what happens is now the folks that have done that and have seen huge success, and even not, what is success? Maybe huge successes like $1 million Kickstarters, $250,000 Kickstarters. Now it's not in that ecosphere. It's not going to be, or in that ecosystem. Could they gain more? So MCDM, I mean, I've kickstarted 1, 2. I think I've been on both of them actually. And they do, but I'm not like a staunch, like, holy cow, Matt Colville's, Matt's a good guy. I'm sure he does great work, but I am not a super fan. I would not consider myself a super fan. If he puts out an RPG rules system, would it be something that I jam on? So he's going to have his core super fans, but he's not going to, he may not have as many 5e fans crossover. Maybe. I don't know. We'll see. And if he does, who knows? He could explode. Not that I think he's doing all that bad anyway. Any Kickstarters? Zero Theory, quite possible. Here's something interesting, Sean. Savage Worlds posted last week that they sold all their hard copies that should have lasted them Q1. I mentioned that Murder Hobo earlier on. You might have missed it. But yes, very intriguing. Very intriguing. Which is interesting because now the market looks like, not that that never has looked like this, but then you start looking at MCDM in the RPG space. I mean, look at how long he's been around. YouTube aside, like Matt is, he I think he owns a little bit of gratitude to the OGL and WotC. I didn't know he worked for them. I thought I saw in his Patreon post announcing the pursuit of the role-playing game. And, oh, by the way, Arcadia is done in July. Like, that magazine is done. Boop. July, last copy. Finished. And so they're going to concentrate on the role-playing game. I didn't know. In that post, he said, I used to work at WotC back in the day when all this was, the OGL was kind of being, he worked in a remote office in LA. I did not know that. Craziness, right? Danix, love to see Cobalt Paizo or someone come out of this as the new D&D. Well, Paizo's been there close, right? And during the 4th edition days. So I don't think that's way off. I don't know. It's a weird set of circumstances. It's not completely different than the 4E days. I don't know. I'm still amazed that Paizo went with the OGL. And not just create their own. Ty says, I like Savage Worlds. Also makes a small book version of the books. I just cannot get used to going back to the big books anymore if I have a physical copy. Yeah, for sure. I'm with you. I wonder how many other companies saw increases in sales because of this. I'm sure, for sure. See many people that I would call in the D&D only camp start to look at other systems. Yeah. I thought I saw a new set of books for Savage Worlds. It's starting to come out soon. I saw a box set. They did come out with like the fantasy companion and the sci-fi companion, maybe not all that long ago. And then they had the Kickstarter for the teenager kids on bikes equivalent. I know for sure. I think there was a box set with that, Ty, if I'm not mistaken. I like Koval, but he gives me Hank Scorpio vibes sometimes. Who is Hank Scorpio?
Hello, Matt Colville. Here I'd like to talk to you about. We want to talk to you about the new RPG MCDM Plus. When we're entering our Arcadia effective July because of the OGL 1.1. If you've lived under a rock,
I'm telling you, I want to have a game called the Matt Colvilles. Playing Matt Colville. I would love 5 of us to go to a convention dressed as Matt Colville and acting like Matt Colville. If you're in a game, you got to talk like Matt Colville. Just would die.
Matt Colville here. I'm going to roll to attack. 15, 19. That's got to hit.
I think Brett will be able to pull it off the easiest. Colville has serious design chops on a couple of different RPG systems. There was a video of him. Who else? I think Sean Merwin, James Heck. And I can't remember the YouTube that hosted it. But Colville called this out like months ago. Like, this is what's going to probably happen. You know, they're going to create their own VTT. It's going to be a walled garden. No OGL is going to be like blown up. And it was interesting. Colville needs to shut his mouth. Literally, his mouth is always wide open and it grosses me out. I feel like he must clean a lot of spit off his cameras. Too funny. Colville's serious design chops. Yep. Yeah. All right. Lines at a con waiting to go sit down and listen to the speaker. They are good to read in line at a con for sure. Horror Companion, that's the Horror Companion PDF is out now. Books in print production. Sci-Fi Companion is coming. Supers, Fantasy, and Horror are out in process. Thanks, CJ. CJ's done some Savage Worlds. Michael Holland said. Your next NPC channel them. Yes, I should. Delta Green, welcome. Yeah, Harrigan will punch me virtually. Also, Holler should be shipping soon. That's a box set, and there's another. Scorpio is that overly friendly Bond villain type from The Simpsons. Didn't watch it. I couldn't keep up with The Simpsons. Always keep a set of dice and small notepad for a makeshift game in line. Faster, Sean. More intensity. Closer to the camera.
Matt Colville here. What happens when you take an OGL 1.1?
I can't even get a script in my brain where I can talk fast enough. That's not very positive in gaming, like Sean. It's not. About the VTT, it's telling. Thanks for sticking with me today, guys. It's all just been straight discussion. I may get to the Kickstarters in a second here, Victor, but I don't know if I have time. About the VTT, it's telling they didn't want to compete by just designing the better product. Woo. Gleemax. Yeah, Colville worked on the old Lord of the Rings and also the original Dune RPG, I believe. Has some video game design chops in there also. Well, I know he had video game chops for sure. That's what I think he did for his day job, like before, as he was doing his YouTube channel. But before he's like got his own company-ish, like, or where he was today. So yeah, no question. How many of you guys use voices in your games? I don't. I try to, Ty. I need to do it more. Everyone is Colville, the RPG. Open your mouth. Better. Thanks, Harrigan. Hey, I'm trying to get the beard. Right? Trying to get the beard here. It's just
Matt Colville. But as they say in RPGs, that you can never do this the right way. If you want to start an RPG and make $1 million, you have to have $1.5 million. Because if you don't, you're never going to go anywhere. That's what I found out when I started MCDM.
I can't do it justice. That guy. I don't know. I would love to meet Matt. I really would. He was probably one of the personalities I would just love to meet because he seems so intense all the time. Like having him at the game table, I would probably just sit there in awe at just him being Matt Colville. I need to send him a shirt that says being Matt Colville. Oh, man. I need to shake your head more. See, you guys would help me. You would help me nail this. I go on tour. I am amused at the talk of new systems. Like we don't have system choice now. And I will say that the landscape is so different now than it was during Paizo's rise. Everyone played D20 games. Yeah. And they had that mailing list. I think he would be a blast at the game table. For sure. BMC. Yes, Roger. The hobby is so much healthier and diverse now. Yeah. Matt lives just up the road from me. Come to find out, we shopped at the same FLGS back in the day. I will play in the MCRPG. Fantastic. Start practicing up. Being Matt Colville. Here's the deal. We're going to play, I would probably play 5th edition. I would run it as Matt Colville for 5th edition. If you're at the table, then you have to talk like this at least and have a very intense disposition. Bonuses for any over the top. I got to watch how he runs a game. I haven't watched any of his actual plays, but now I'm very intrigued for some reason. Because I don't have to be at a con to play with Matt Colville. I can just watch one of his actual plays. For sure, stream it. Yes. Hell yes. Matt should license himself. There should be a Matt Colville license. If you want to play Matt Colville, here are the details. Ty says, I do more voices as a player than a GM, but I want to GM more time and place, and courage hurts me. Sometimes, Ty, I lose track of how I sounded for the NPC. So if an NPC carries from one session to the next, and there's a 2-week gap, sometimes I lose the antics I have had for an NPC. So sometimes I don't do it as much. I watched his DMing of Paranoia of all things. Oh my God. I'd play in that game. Yes, you will, Roger. OMCGL. Open Mike Colville gaming license. I think I could probably pull off a channel and get like 1 million subscribers from I don't know about 1 million. I could probably get close to what Matt has. If people know who Matt is, I would get half of those. I'm not making fun. Imitation is the highest form of flattery. Get Matt to log into the stream midway through the game. Oh, that would be hilarious. That would be hilarious. That would be awesome. Like Weird Al. It's a parody. Yes, of course it is. What other personalities are there in the RPG hobby? Matt Colville. I don't know if there's any. Rob Schwab is kind of. Rob's a little harder because he's not a prolific, like you don't see Rob a lot and you don't hear him a lot. But once you do, like you know Rob. Ken Haidt. Ken or Robin, maybe? Ken, I've met Ken. I've talked to Ken. A highly intellectual. You got to come from that. I picked off some things from Ken that I would probably implement. I think I felt like kind of an idiot when I talked to Ken. Because, yeah, Ken versus Matt Colville. Oof, Dennis Detwiller would be interesting. Although he's a little more toned down from like the interview that Shipman had with him. it's been a few episodes since we mentioned Shipman and Third Floor Wars. Poor guy, his whole computer rig like blew up apparently, and so he's on a hiatus until he replaces all his tech. But he interviewed Dennis Detwiller and was more of a down to earth guy. But his Twitter account is, whew, yeah, Dennis is not afraid. Professor, Doctor, Captain, Mr. Dungeon Master. Imitating Questing Beast. Ben, I think that would be just a fun streamed game. You have to come as a popular RPG YouTuber, and you really got to nail them down. And you gotta like call yourself Milton B or something, like something just left that, you know, don't want to get into too much trouble. But it'd be parody, yeah, sure. John Wick is another one. Yeah, some of these guys I wish I would meet. Like I could just watch. Like I would sit at a game at a con and not even be in it. I would just watch them and like, oh, okay, like try to like embrace what they're about. Yes. Yeah. Interesting. It's yeah. John Wick would be a good one. Dennis Ditwell RP would be just game about blocking people on social media for no reason. Yeah. Yes, but there are some definitely. I think Ben would be a good one, although he's kind of chill, but he has a certain speech pattern. He has a certain speech pattern. So if you were asking to do OSE and run OSE, then you probably want to go with this one because it's one of the better ones on the shelf today. Or you could pick up Nave, one of my products. Like I don't know if I can really embrace him. It's like his is a tone and like, yeah, he'd be easier to do, but I don't know if he would stand out as much. Colville's over the top. That's the easy. It's a cadence. Yes. Yeah. Ben would be something like, if you haven't tuned in this week, the Open Gaming License has been a bit of a kerfuffle. Unlike some of the products that I've made that have fallen under the OGL, which I'll have to remove based off this week's findings. Eyebrow acting, yeah. I would have to watch him a little more intensely. Grade school teacher voice. Busted the cut over here, Roger. Am I nailing him a little? I got a little bit. I'm a little there. And frankly, I don't listen or watch a lot of Ben. But he is very consistent. Like that guy is, yeah. And it's interesting to see these guys because I don't know if they're going off a script. Sometimes in YouTube videos, you could tell like, oh, they're reading that thing. And, there's a teleprompter in front of them. But Ben, he doesn't, and if you do a jump cut, you can maybe predict an edit in there somewhere. But I don't know. Ben is actually a grade school teacher. I could see it. Sean is more Matt than Ben. Oh, I don't know if that's good or bad. I tried the How to Be a Great GM guy or the Dungeon Dudes with their weird back and forth. I don't know who it was that's gotten a little bit of the publicity lately. And frankly, this has been an eye-opener, man. I have seen a lot of YouTube channels, and they have done quite well, some of the RPG channels. Like holy cow, they got like 20,000 subscribers. Good for them. That's awesome. It gives me hope. I just am slacking. I'm just a slacker. That's the problem. I wish I looked like Joe Manganiello. Hell, his life for a day would be cool. For sure. Yeah. Yes, the Dungeon Dudes delivery makes me nervous. Seth. Oh yeah, Seth. Wow, he's got a really mild-mannered. I can't do Seth at all right now because I'd have to watch him more. Because I don't see a lot of Seth, but I could see him being one for sure. Some of these guys are so subtle though, and if you don't know who they are, you have to like call it out. Knave, not Karen. I said Knave. I said Karen or whatever. Did I say Knave? I don't know. Oh, interesting. Seth would be imagine being in Joe's gaming as much as I hate D&D. I'd love to be in that game. Yeah, could do Seth's side character more easily than Seth himself. Yeah, it would be fun, right? All these guys, good. I gotta give them props, man. Some of this stuff is not easy to create, and I know you guys just eat their stuff up. You know, Indestructiboy. I don't even know who that. Like he's on the Avengers little meme they put out there with everybody that's like anybody in the RPG space that's going up against the wizard, you know, against the evil Thanos wizards of the coast. Destructo Boy. I'd have to look at that. I haven't seen or who that might be. That one's lost on me. But then that tells you kind of where I am. Tankar has a specific way of talking and mannerisms also. Yeah, Tanker, it's been a while. Gotta get a little New Yorkish with Tankar, for sure. Again, speech pattern. I have to distinct eye patch. Not sure why. Tankar does? Is that new? Maybe? Are we talking about the same thing, Michael? Anyways. Get a critical role personality. Problem is they're all voice actors, so they can change. Well, it's going to be an interesting month. It's going to be an interesting month. They can't put off the announcement too much longer. Seth from Family Guy. Seth MacFarlane? Yes. Yes. Do Stewie? Yes, if you play role-playing games, it's very nice. Everybody should play role-playing games. You carnivorous twat. Then you do Peter. I think I'm gonna hang it up. You can tell I'm running out of gas. Well, actually, let me see something. I don't know if I marked it. I don't know if I bookmarked it. Let's see. You know, it will. It might be interesting. We'll go through this really quick. I'm pretty sure. But let's do this and see about Kickstarters. Because some Kickstarters, I don't know, power down. But did you mark it? I didn't mark it. News Digest. Well, that was not a lot. Support. Pies announcing rumors. WotC announcement today. They canceled. No. Wow. Oh, RPG crowdfunding news. Here we go. Because some of these might be interesting to want to know about and buy. And some of you guys might be in on it. Oh, hey, there's nothing there. It's a blank screen, Sean. Quick. For Pete's sakes. Here you go. How about now? There? How about now? Can you hear me? All right. Thanks to Ian World. Go over to ianworld.org. View their stuff. Click on all kinds of ads so they make money. There. All right. First one, Nirvana on Fire Expanded Edition from Magnum Galaxy Games for Mothership 1E. Tuesday, January 31st is the end date. So you, as of this recording, you got over a couple weeks. Adventure, $65 Canadian dollars. I don't know if Australia and Canada, what else, who else uses the term dollar? I don't know if that's authorized by the United States, and if it's really is it a real dollar? Because it's not, because the U.S. has dollars, and so everybody else doesn't have dollars. Oh. Sorry, Canadians, just kidding, or Australians, Aussies, just kidding. With the lights out, Nirvana on fire. 32-page book. It's a box set. Buddhist tinged with Machiavellian intrigues. Ooh, it's like describing a wine. Adventures described as Buddhist tinged with a Machiavellian intrigues. They're funded. Go buy it. Don't worry, we know our dollar isn't really a dollar in America. Yeah, no, it's no, it's not. All right, Western 5e, Western 5e, Dungeons and Dragons 5th edition source book, $5 for the PDF. Come on now, did it fund? Let's play. Did it fund? Funded. I'm telling you, that's like money. 5e money. $4,000 of a $500 goal. Jeez, man. Preposterous potions. They need more P's than that. Fully funded and smashing stretch goals. What, I see there's a theme going on here. Preposterous potions, fully funded, smashing stretch goals. Good gracious. 5th edition and OSR, Australia, $30. Funded. It's funded. 5e. It's just put it, stamp, boom, sold. Canadian Fike money with beavers and dead queens and whatnot on it. Look, for the record, I love Canadians. As a matter of fact, my grandparents were from Canada. True story. Great grandparents. Yeah. Yep. French Canadian. Devereaux, and that was Grandma's name. Grandpa's name was Grandpa's name was Devereaux, I think. Cicero Devereaux? I don't know. I have to look it up. Anyways. Locked layers and puzzles that keep them for all TTRPGs, system neutral from Theorycraft. If you ever wanted to be able to pick a puzzle or a lock that was legitimately difficult, something clever enough that it feels like your party isn't the first to encounter it, just the first to succeed, this is what this book offers. 40 pounds. And its goal was 2,500. 40,000 pounds. Did I say 40 pounds? 40,000 pounds. Eileen, what are you doing here? We talked about you. You gotta rewind. Good luck trying to find it. Just saying. Limitless. That's what I'm gonna start doing when people drop in. Hell, we talked about you. Ty, we talked about you too. 1883 has brought back Westerns. Yellowstone. Limitless NPCs. Volume 2. Dragons D&D 5th edition. Did it fund? It's $15 for the PDF. Did it fund? Oh, yeah, it funded. 500% funded. Hell yeah, it did. 5e, bro. 5e, bro. $14,000 at 2,500. Telling you. Oops, All Dragons. 5th edition fantasy. Funded in 2 hours. So there's the mystery there, ladies and gentlemen. By Level Up Advanced 5th edition and D&D. So Level Up is the EN world. Mike Myler teams with Legendary Games to bring you a horde of dragons for 5e and Level Up. 45 dragons across 60 pages, ranging from CR3 to 28.
You'll get these monsters, some with varying ages, all ready to be used in your adventures. If you're a fan of Mike's work here and a fan of dragons, this campaign is for you.
Funded. All right. Covenant Crucible, a game of magic and witchcraft. Core rulebook, an original system. Ooh, did it fund? Did it fund? Come on, cross your 200 pages. Like, is there like, as we scroll down, are there things that we can determine, like, that we can analyze that would determine whether it funded or not? Maybe. Let's see. 7,000. Ah, it funded. It funded. 2D12 system, setting and lore. 2D12, bring out. There should be a quest to get rid of the D20. Hashtag too soon. D100 Forest Hooks, Philip Reed. That guy puts out a bunch of stuff. Go back his stuff. I should really buy more of Philip Reed stuff. System Neutral Buck. This might be part of his campaign, right? Wasn't he doing like a drive-through RPG campaign? This one happens to be on Kickstarter. So, 100 Adventure Hooks. Designed for wooded fantasy RPGs. Great for this, probably be good for Forbidden Lands, just saying, right? I bet I have to check this out. It's $1 for the PDF and 100 forest hooks. Yeah, maybe. It's $1. Oh, I think I'm gonna go and get it. I'm gonna go back it. That's it. That's the funding for the week. Thank you for tuning in. We appreciate it. Go to EN World and check it out. They do good work. Yeah. Oh my God, I scrolled up in the chat. How did I end up way up there? Holy cow, got lost. All right, so there you go. There's a billion Western RPGs. A billion? Many of them don't have classes, levels, hit points, and such.
Matt Colville will disagree. There is not a billion Western RPGs. As a matter of fact, the three key ones are Boot Hill, Aces and Eights.
What is it? The Noir one. Deadlands. Reboot Hill. Who? Where does the Indian lady in the story mix in? Huh? What? We all know zombies and westerns really happen. Oh, yeah, that's right. Weird Frontiers. That's a good one. Tiny D6 Western. All right, yeah, so we promote these guys. Matt Colville, brain fart.
One of the few people I enjoy gaming with is Harrigan. You might know him because he appreciates the D6 systems.
Weird Frontiers looks up your alley. Yeah, he's got 2 books out now. Like, he's got the Magic one, I think, on drive-thru that I saw. I don't think that was on Kickstarter. So he must have just, you know, Dave really put it, he lost his shorts on that Kickstarter. So hopefully by putting out that PDF, he can recoup some of that cost. I should probably just buy it to help the guy out. A sympathy RPG buy? That's harsh. He's the only guy that has my driver's license mugshot on a t-shirt. Dave Beatty. Love that guy. Would love to try Weird Frontiers. Look up some of my alley, Zero Theory. It's a division of the big book. Oh, it is. Oh, he did it in 2 different books. Got it. Deadlands, Rifts, 50 Fathoms. 50 Fathoms. Wise Guys, The Last Parsec, ETU. All wicked sweet settings. Wicked sweet. Wicked smart.
Savage Worlds, yeah. Savage Worlds.
No love for Rippers? We got to give some Savage Worlds love out there. We don't see a lot of Savage Worlds played on the Discord. Harrigan's going to run some Savage Worlds, I think, for our group. I'd love to pulp it. Pulp it up. Fast, furious, fun. Let's do it. Let's do it. I mean, they got a rabid following out in Colorado. Rocky Mountain Savages. They are like the what are they? The soccer. They're the soccer hooligans of the RPG world.
Shots fired! That guy's going down! You suck! We are not. We just love Savage Worlds. We appreciate it because it's the best RPG setting and rule set ever!
Just kidding, Savage Worlds lovers. I need to give We Deal in Lead a try. Ooh, let me some Dark Tower stuff. Oh man, were you in my game, Nelson? Was not a very good game. I apologize. Not a very good representation. Burr Hobo, I've been stuffing you in the trunk of all my adventures since Forget About It Suede version. Yeah. Index card, RPG Age system, Savage Worlds, Survive this, all compete for my time. Yeah. Sounds about right. Also, dinosaurs in a Western setting and a real thing that happens. We all know it's true. Yeah, that's true. It's true. Dinosaurs were not extinct all that long ago. It's a total conspiracy. Trying to cover up the mass murder of harmless reptilian species. Try telling one of them you don't love Savage Worlds. Who are the most rabid fans? Savage Worlds or DCC? Whoa. Eileen says SW. She works in the FLGS. Starting Cyberg.
Cyberg! It's like a different Merkberg! I'll have him now, Cyberpunk!
ICRPG. Close. Fate. Awful lot of overlap between DCC and SW. Nope. Pathfinder. Most rabid. But it's not all of them, right? Right. It's not everybody. It's not everybody in those circles. PF are a different level. What about OSR? What about OSR? Right? BX? Jump on the Discord and I'll set up a game, Gary. We are Coville. Being Matt Coville. The game. Pulp it up. Pulp it up, yo. All right, guys. I'm going to hang her up for the day. I appreciate all of you. Thanks for showing up. Remember, if you haven't hit the thumbs up or thumbs down button, please do so. Just make sure you don't hit it twice. Just hit it once. And if you want to be notified, subscribe, hit the bell. Then you'll get notified. Stream every morning, Saturdays, 8 a.m. It's been a while, man. I would have to see. I think I've been doing this for at least a year. I've got probably, right? If I do it every week, there's got to be more than 52 of these things. I could pull up my directory and see all the videos. Thanks so much for being here. Much appreciated. Like I said, I can't do this without you guys every week. Like you guys would drop off the face of the earth, I'd be like talking to my cat or something. It's good stuff. The hobby, we love it. Good and bad. It's all going to work out. It's all going to work out. It'll be fine. And frankly, you know what? If people want to play one D&D and not, I'll just say this in closing. If people want to play one D&D and not cancel their one D&D or D&D Beyond subscriptions, great. If somebody continues to not play it, great. Like just think of how it impacts you personally. Like if you are a creator and this OGL is going to really screw up your life, totally understand the anger. I can have empathy. But it's going to change. That's for sure. We can all agree this. It's going to change. Some will say for the better. Some will say no. And some it won't even really affect. Right?
I'm Matt Colville signing off.
Anyways, have yourself a good weekend. Appreciate it. Take some time out for yourself. Do some gaming. BSRCon next weekend. Hope to see you there. Don't forget to prep. That's a note to myself, not to you, by the way. And I got to get back to my game group and see if we're going to run Cold Shadows this week. I think we're going to not because of the con, but I don't know. Maybe we will, and then we'll record it. We'll see. Cold Shadows, yeah, baby. It's not even right here. Yes, it is. No, it's not. Yes, it is. Some of them are. Anyways, I'm rambling. I'll catch you later. Be a positive force in the RPG hobby. Take care of yourself. Take care of yourself. Just take care of yourself, okay? Be well. See ya.